Welcome everyone to our show, Get to Know Your Neighbor. I'm your host, Cameron Geesaman with Geesman Homes. I've been gone the last week, so I'm kind of excited about getting back into this. Our goal with every show is to bring awareness of awesome neighbors of Fishers, Indiana, and share their stories with you. And tonight will be a great show just for that. Moving forward, we are making some changes. For the month of July, we will be only doing our Facebooks on Thursday nights at 7:30. Don't forget to click the like button, post an emoji, or comment below. And if you have a friend that could showcase, please share with them as well. If you're watching this as a replay, either on YouTube, Facebook, or on our website, please make sure to follow or subscribe to get notified when we post on further interviews as well. Tonight, we are interviewing Rebecca Stevens, whom is a Fishers resident and the president and CEO of the Humane Society of Hamilton County, which is an award-winning, nationally recognized organization that serves Hamilton County as an open admission, no-kill shelter. Upon hearing that they were building a brand new facility actually down the street from my parents in Fishers and leaving their current location in Noblesville, I've been excited to chat with her. From the day she joined the Hamilton County Humane Society, that is a mouthful, I have to admit, I've been practicing. In May of 2005 to today, she has had a passion for animals and growing the foundation into what it is today. They give every animal a chance. Unfortunately, we only have about an hour, but I'm looking forward to the time that we do have. We're blessed to have such an awesome leader in our community with such a giving and dedicated heart. So please welcome Rebecca Stevens. Hi. Thank you so much.
Sure. We're happy to be here. By we, I mean all the animals that are about to be on my lap throughout the segment.
Of course. Okay, so not on the question list that I put, but how many animals do you tend to have at your personal house?
Oh gosh, I don't usually disclose that, but I have 6 dogs, all rescues, and 3 cats, all rescues.
Oh wow. I know that there's a lot, again, this is what preface, see, you put a dog on your lap and then all of a sudden these questions come. There's like people that can have dogs that are in the shelter or whatever, but where they're having them at their house. Is there a limit to how many animals? Because you said you don't disclose that. Is like there a limit?
Well, people don't think I'm insane.
Oh.
But I excuse it because, you know, I work at the Humane Society. So that's my excuse. No, in fact, I just worked on updating the Hamilton County ordinance with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. And we updated the language to reflect that, you know, there's no arbitrary maximum on the number of pets that you have. What matters is that you're caring for them and you love them and they're getting adequate care and they're in a good home. So I don't care and nobody else cares if you've got 5 cats, as long as they're happy and healthy and they're not running loose and causing harm, and same for dogs. So
I think that's amazing.
Everybody come adopt multiples.
Yes. Our neighbors adopted multiples. They'll probably jump on at some point. I think I mentioned to you that was Chuck and Barry, but they adopted 2. And when they showed up, it was actually her birthday. And so she showed up and I looked out my back door and she had 2 big dogs. I was like, what's that? And our kids came running home and they said, they went to the Humane Society. They adopted 2 dogs. I was like, no, they didn't. Like, I totally was like, no, they didn't. But sure enough.
I remember them, and they were a bonded pair, actually. And so that's one of the things that's very important to us is we get a lot of bonded pairs in, siblings, or just they've been together their whole lives. And unfortunately, they found themselves in the shelter, surrendered for some reason. So it's very important to us to keep them together and finding those homes willing to take in 2 at a time. It's not that easy. And so we're really grateful to folks that do that.
I love that. And when they told me the story, I was like, how could you just take one? And now that I know them, you can't take Chuck and Barry apart. Like, you can't. One starts to leave the yard and the other one's right there behind them. Like they are a pair. So I do love that because you just never know, especially if you're the one, you know, needing to give up your dogs, right? Like to be worried about that would be hard, you know?
It is. And, you know, we see it when you take them apart, and sometimes we'll test to see if they can still thrive separated. just putting them in kennels by each other, but not in the same one. And you'll see immediately whether or not that's going to be a problem, because they'll not eat, they get depressed. So it's, they love each other. It's no different than us when we're bonded.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, we'll dive in kind of to the questions. One in the first question that we kind of always ask is somewhat Fishers related, because our show really is about, at this point, I don't know if it'll grow to be something bigger, but ultimately right now it's about Fishers, because we're Fishers residents. Adam and I both went to Hamilton Southeastern, so we try to keep it kind of in the family. So the first question is, what do you love about Fishers, and in turn made you choose it as your hometown?
Well, I've lived in Fishers for 22 years at this point. So I've been here for a long time, long before all of this amazing development. And I've just watched it grow up around me. I think that I was originally attracted to the area because it was developing, and I was buying my very first home, and there were a lot of great options, and just I just really felt the hominess of this area, and when it was still called a town, and I still do. I still feel that way about it, even with all the growth and development. But been here ever since. Only moved once, and this is definitely what I consider my home.
Wow. I remember it, and it's honestly been hard because I've said town multiple times, and I'm always like, oh no, we're a city. Like it's hard to kind of transition from that, because when when Adam and I graduated from high school, there were no houses from like McDonald's all the way to
right. Exactly. I mean, I've watched all this come up. I'm around the 106th and Cumberland area, and some of the older homes that are over here, but everything else, I mean, it's just insane, everything that's come up.
Wait, if you're at 106 in Cumberland, then you're really close to the new building.
I know, that's pretty awesome. I did not design it that way, but I like it. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be pretty nice.
I'm so excited about that location. I know I'm going off track, but can you tell us about the new location? Can you kind of mention that? Like, where is it, so that people, because I say that 106th and Cumberland, it's not quite Cumberland, but can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, the new facility will be located at 106th and Hague Road, so not far from there. Everybody that's in the Fishers community probably knows where Ritchie Woods is. So we're going to be right across from the nature preserve, and nestled in where Creekside Church used to be. So the big white church there was a pole barn behind it, and I'm sure everybody remembers driving by. The big field had like chickens in it and a swing set and all of that. So that's always what I thought of when I would go by that beautiful property. And we had the opportunity to purchase it, and the city was amazing and welcoming to zone it for us and welcome us there. So that will be our new home. We've broken ground, moving the dirt now, with plans to move in the spring of 2021.
I'm so excited. I think that is such a neat location, one-off. I remember that church, and when they first started tearing it down, it's before I knew that you were going to be there, and I was like, they're tearing down the church? Like, what? It's been there for so long. And you're right. Like, you would see kids out there and the garden, and it's a neat location. They're actually, do you know of the house that is on 106th Street, like between Hague, if you're heading towards Cumberland? There was like an old rickety house.
Yeah.
My family lived in a neighborhood right by there, and we used to call that the haunted house.
Well, that house is actually, they've taken that burned down.
Yes, it burned down.
And it's being developed by a couple of our biggest supporters who actually helped us acquire this land, Nick and Rhonda Waybright. So Rhonda, with Real America, she's developing that back there to be a senior living community. And it's going to be amazing, because they'll be just walking distance from the shelter, and the seniors will be able to come over and enjoy the animals and volunteer and benefit from the programs we offer.
That is so awesome. Oh my God.
We're excited.
Like, that wasn't in the campaign thing that I read. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of came up afterwards. It was an opportunity that arose, and Rhonda, that's her passion, is to provide affordable living for seniors. And there isn't enough of it in good areas where they're safe. And now they're going to have this great home and access to the shelter. So we're super excited.
Yeah, what a great be able to kind of like pair that. But yes, I do remember that house. Okay, so can you tell us about your career path and what brought you to want to run a humane society? Because I found that very interesting. I feel like people would want to know that as well.
Well, I was in corporate America working in marketing and public relations and sales for a really long time, and really had no intentions or even in my mind at all that I wanted to go to nonprofit or run an animal shelter. And so I was contacted by the shelter's board of directors in 2004 because they were looking for some assistance with PR and really kind of trying to mitigate some challenges that they were having at the time. And so they enlisted my help, and I was happy to do that. They also did not have an executive director, and they had not had one for about a year. And I think they were trying to bait and switch me. And they were like, "Hey, would you like to take this job?" And not that I didn't want to do it, but it would have been a big shift in many ways for me personally and professionally from where I was at in my career. And I said, "No, but I will certainly help you." And I am happy to do that because I love animals. And I had 2 dogs and a cat at the time. Those were my babies. So, a few months went by and the shelter was really struggling without leadership. There were some concerns that they might not even stay there and it could just become an animal control facility, which would never be optimal. So I had a heavy heart, but financially it would have been, like I said, incredibly impactful for me to leave my career and move over there. But in January of 2005, one of my babies, Maggie, an American Bulldog, 90 pounds of just beast and love, gorgeous big white girl. She got off the couch one night and just kind of yelped, and just out of the blue, a disc slipped and severed her spinal cord and left her paraplegic in an instant. And so now I had this 90-pound paralyzed American Bulldog that I was told at the ER that night, if she's going to have any chance to make it, you're going to have focused hydrotherapy and physical therapy and acupuncture and surgery. And it's just going to be, you're going to have to really throw everything at it in this short window to give her a chance. And my career would not have allowed that at that moment to do that. So I felt like it was a divine message with everything happening around me, that I needed to step back and really rethink this decision because joining the shelter would have afforded me that opportunity. And so I decided to quit my job and take a leap of faith. And that's when I joined the shelter in May of 2005 and rehabbed Maggie for a long time. And she never walked again, but she had a cart. And she took out more drywall than I can even share in my house with that cart. She got around just fine, and she was amazing and lived to be 14. So the longest surviving large breed paraplegic, most of the vets in this area tell me they've ever seen on record. But she was such an inspiration.
Yeah, I read in your thing that even multiple veterinarians were saying, "Hey, just euthanize her."
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this was, you have a paraplegic dog, you have to manually express their bladders. And right. So you're lifting them, and you have to really massage their tummy and to help them go. And that's multiple times a day. And, wow. Doing that she was 3. So doing that over that span of time certainly took its toll on my back. But what are you going to do? She was my baby, and it was worth every painful, muscle in my lower back. It was worth everything. I have no regrets. And it's really what inspired me to adopt the philosophy that we have today at the shelter, which is that every animal deserves the chance to live, love, and be loved, regardless of their breed, special needs, disabilities. It doesn't matter, because I've seen it firsthand how remarkable and how tenacious and resilient they can be, and the impact, like me, they can have in your life and then maybe others.
And she had a good life, you
She
know,
had
and
a great life.
right?
Yeah, she
Uh,
lived the best.
well, and it was interesting because even just learning after talking with you, I was talking to a friend the other day, and she has one of her pets who actually, unfortunately, has aggression towards other dogs, not towards people, but towards dogs. And a dog got in the way, and the two dogs, unfortunately, were arguing, and one bit their daughter as they were trying to grab
Mhm.
the puppy. And I'm having the conversation in my mind. I'm thinking, oh, what do you like? I just assumed you have to euthanize that, right? Like, so then she's like, no, I talked to the Humane Society and they can, like, there's so many options. And I was like, so she went through the options. And I mean, I had done research on your site and kind of looked at stuff, but like, even reading it, she was explaining. So, can you explain if somebody has that situation? Because I thought that was really interesting. Like,
Mhm.
if somebody has that situation and there is an aggressive dog, like, what can you explain what kind of options there are for people who are like afraid to keep them in the house with the kids,
Mhm.
but yet don't want to euthanize?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's important to understand that dogs who are aggressive toward another dog, in most cases, they're just they're selective. It's rare that you come across a dog that just cannot be ever around another animal because that's not natural to them. But there are many dogs that are not great with most dogs, or maybe not little dogs. And so what you're calling dog aggression, it's a very real thing, and it's definitely problematic, but it is manageable if you are vigilant. So that aggression is completely different from a dog that would be aggressive toward a human being. That doesn't mean that they're going to bite a child. So if you have a dog and it's not good with other dogs, the first thing I would recommend is to set it up for success, which means don't put them in situations where they're destined to fail. That means don't have them around lots of other dogs. That means having control of your dog on the proper kind of leash, not a retractable lead that gets out 20 feet ahead of you and will break. It means you have to just if you're going to commit to that, you need to keep them safe, you need to keep them successful, and typically you can prevent those things from happening. The number one reason people get bitten is because they put their hands in the middle of a dog fight.
That's what their daughter did.
So those dogs had no intention of biting her.
Right.
It's just it's an accidental, we call it a redirection. So she got her hand in the middle of a bad situation, and it happens a lot, but by no means does that mean that dog wanted to harm her or intended to harm her. And now he's going to be dangerous to the family. So personally, I would, if it happened to me, it just depends on how severe it was. It's trying to educate people about, look, this is why this happened. It's taking responsibility financially for it. If you're the one that did that, then you got to pay the medical bill. You have a responsibility to the victim involved. But by no means do I think that means you need to kill your dog because you made a bad decision. So there's options, and then there are dogs that are dangerous because they are that aggressive, and so it depends, and it all boils down to finding the right home where they're going to thrive, be safe, and make sure everybody else around them is safe.
Well, and so in this situation, yes, it was her daughter. So of course she took care of it. It's happened before. And so they've done training with the dog and really worked with the dog. And it's been a year and a half since it happened the last time. And so she was like, they really tried to make sure that they did everything that they could. This time she kind of is like, okay, we've got these other two dogs. She's really, really old, this dog. And so when she called at least the Humane Society, like they were really great with her and just kind of talked through like, okay, here's some things we can do. Absolutely, we can take her. There's plenty of houses where she could be the only dog in the house and thrive and be successful. You know what I mean?
So that was the older dog in the home that was
older dog.
Okay, so it sounds to me like they probably introduced dogs after she was there.
Yes.
They bring in the new puppy.
Yes.
And this also is a great topic because we tell people you need to really think about when you adopt what your motives are. What are you looking to achieve? And if you have an older senior dog in your home, are they going to like having a puppy yapping, jumping on them? Sometimes they do. Sometimes that makes old dogs come to life. But we require a meet and greet for that reason. We want to see how they're going to, thrive together and if they're going to be compatible. But you have to really be strategic, and you have to think through what's a really good fit so that my existing pets are going to like this, not just, getting the new puppy for the family.
Right.
I have to say it hurts my heart because I do see that a lot out with the old and with the new, and that's not fair.
They had gotten a puppy before, so they had it had been the puppy or the older dog had been fine before with
Right.
because I think it used to grow up with another dog, so it was always 2 dogs. And so
Right.
the one dog passed away, they got a new dog, and it was fine with that one. So I completely understand what you're saying because that is hard, right? Like you want to be able to introduce it. I just think it was so good that there were options versus just saying before
Right.
15 years ago, if they would have called the Humane Society, they would have been like, sorry, we can't take it, or no, it has to be euthanized or whatever. And so I just think that speaks to kind of what you bring in brought the
Sure.
Humane Society to what it is today. So I was just really impressed because that was one thing I didn't understand.
Yeah, I mean, we ultimately we want to see pets stay in their homes. If we can help you, we offer free behavior counsel. You call up the Humane Society, like it sounds like she did, and just tell us what's going on. We have a really gifted team. Gina Doyle is our animal behaviorist, Megan Gonterman, our director of operations, and they have vast knowledge to get on there and help you try to work through those issues. And the goal is to keep them there. Sometimes that's just not going to work, and we understand that, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're an open admission, no kill shelter, so that dogs like this can come in and they're going to get their second chance.
Right. And find that home, so to speak, that maybe
Right.
be able to cater to what that dog needs now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Devastated. I don't even know if they've even done anything. They want to keep the dog, so they're trying to figure everything out.
We'll go to the ends of the earth to help somebody keep their pet. I can tell you, I mean, I've just seen it, what we're willing to do to help them through that, because we have such great respect for the fact that they're trying. At least when you try, we're going to do everything for you. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But that's great that they're putting forth that effort.
Oh, absolutely. Like they were devastated. I'm just putting the Humane Society down there. Okay, so with that, what has been one of your greatest joys about running a non-for-profit? Because that's very different from corporate America.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it was definitely a culture shock to step into that. I mean, back in 2005, when I started, the shelter was actually a kill facility. They were not no kill, and they were located at the jail at the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. So the conditions and surroundings were not very good or conducive to healthy people or animals. So it was definitely a challenge to come in and essentially start over. That's what the organization needed, was to really begin building fundamental programs that they were missing, like fundraising. None of the programs that we offer today existed. We didn't have a formalized way to market to the community, and we were primarily depending on the county, frankly, for our funding. And so we needed to really regroup from a marketing and branding standpoint. We also needed to rethink all of the operations, and that took some time. So I would say, the hardest thing was going through that without training, without having anybody to tell you what to do, how to run a shelter. There wasn't anybody there to say, here's the book, you just got to figure it out. And that was tough. But ultimately, I think the hardest thing about this is just the nature of what we do. And it's seeing animals come in, even though we know they're going to have, a happy ending. If it's possible, they'll get one with us. But even still, while they wait, especially in the building that we're in today, which doesn't have any noise control, no windows or light in any of the areas of the building for the animals.
That was so interesting. So I watched that video, and I will try to put a comment below. I want to link, because I don't have that up on my screen right now, but I want to link that video that you sent me, because for anybody that's watching, it was a very interesting video, because I've been there many, many times. And you're right. You walk into essentially where all the dogs are. And especially for somebody, that, okay, I don't mind, loud noises, but like we took our little kids, and our little kids walked in and they just kind of seemed overwhelmed. So you didn't specifically mention it in that video, but with the new facility, what does that look like? Because I didn't.
Yeah. It's comparison. We fixed everything. I mean, that's the best way to say it. I mean, every single challenge that's in that video has been repaired in this new design. I couldn't be happier. I mean, we've addressed every single quality of life issue that the animals have dealt with, and the people who care for them have dealt with all these years. I have hearing loss. I have from working there all these years. It's deafening in the building. So it's tough, and that's, watching the animals hiding under their beds and at the back of their kennel shaking. I mean, and imagine having to be in that 24/7, sometimes weeks or months on end. It is emotionally devastating for some of these animals. And so our team has the challenge, and amazing volunteers, by the way, who come in and walk our dogs every day, make sure they get lots of love. Volunteers that come in and pet the cats, they keep them emotionally invested. They keep their heads in the game until we can get them into those homes. And then we've also got great fosters for the ones that just are not going to make it. And that buys them time. And so without all of the community support that we have, we wouldn't be the shelter that we are today.
I found it very interesting, or it was eye-opening to me. You go to shelters, right? Mostly I've been to yours. I honestly haven't been to any others. So sorry, all the other shelters. I've only been to yours. And in the video, which I found very interesting as well, is that the stress that the animals have by being where they can see each other. Mm-hmm. I didn't even think that was a thing.
I mean, it's, imagine being a dog. What happens a lot of times is we'll get a dog in, or a cat, that's well balanced. These are not criminals. These are not all naughty dogs and cats. They're like this old soul. Things didn't work out, or they came in as a stray, or the family just couldn't keep them for some reason. There's nothing wrong with the animal, but they come in there, and you live in that chaos for any period of time, and it starts to chip away at what was balanced. And now you have a dog that can become reactive, or is, barking at the front of its kennel, or whatever. And it's a race against time to get them out of there before you get to a point where it's irreversible, and that's what we've fought against all these years. And that's what's going to be resolved in the new facility, because in the design, there's not a single kennel that faces another kennel, and you can't see them from side to side. We've looked at all of those things that make it hard to be in a shelter, and we've fixed it with the help of Sean Curran Architecture. Is our architect. Meyer Najum out of Fishers is managing the project, and they've just done an amazing job to create a state-of-the-art facility unlike any other, certainly in the state of Indiana. And it will, I believe it will be one of the best in the country when we're done.
It, at least from what I've been reading and looking at and kind of researching, and what you have online, it looks amazing. And I do want to hit on it. It's not just from the standpoint of an adoption, right, from a Humane Society, but you also are animal control for Hamilton County, not just, which I think is huge, because that's not normal for Humane Societies, right?
There are more communities that are looking at that model, because frankly, I believe it's the only way for a community to truly become no-kill is to collaborate. Because at the end of the day, what we're good at is fundraising, marketing, and saving lives. And what animal control is designed to do is bring animals in off the street and focus on safety. And you need all of it. It all needs to work together. And so with the way that we're set up in Hamilton County, the building that we're in today is a county designed and owned building, but we're our own nonprofit organization that they essentially have contracted to manage the care of all of the animals of Hamilton County. And that way, Fishers and Carmel and the Sheriff's Department and Westfield and Noblesville, their law enforcement and residents all drop off any strays that they pick up, their personal pets if they can't keep them, investigations, all of that, hoarding cases, it all comes to us, one place. And we get about 20% of our funding for providing that service to the county and the cities so that they don't have to build their own shelters. Right. And that funding represents the first 7 days that an animal is in our care because our county ordinance says you have to hold an animal for 7 days, a stray animal. So that's where that comes from. So that funding that we get, like I said, it's about 20% of our annual operating budget, which is just over $2 million. And it covers the, basic sheltering for 7 days, processing the animal.
Oh, we lost her. I am going to kick her off real quick for anybody that's watching. If she's still watching, Rebecca, you kind of froze. I'm gonna actually remove you, kick you out, and then have you come back in. I'm so sorry. I'm so delved in. I'm not even paying attention. I'm trying to process all that she's saying. I'm so excited about what Rebecca is kind of telling us. Anybody who has just joined in, we are talking with Rebecca Stevens, who is the president and CEO of Hamilton Humane Society. And it blows my mind at how much they do for our community. She was actually just talking about how she does all of animal control. So it's not just you and I that maybe it didn't work out with our animal, dropping them off there. It's all animal control, which I have learned is not the same as just a humane society. There are two different, aspects of the business. And so it's just been really interesting to, chat with her and kind of learn her end of things. She's really taken what used to be in the jail in Noblesville, this little facility, and has grown it into this huge entity. And they're opening up a new building in Fishers. So she's not back with us yet. Actually, what I might do is actually text her and make sure that she sees it. And I think she's coming back. There she is. You're back.
My internet, I think we're going to have a storm, it looks like, but I don't know how your internet is, but mine is sketchy right now.
Mine's okay so far.
We're on my phone now, and I don't know what's the last thing you heard, but there you go.
That's okay. No, you were doing a great job. I was paying attention so much and then you disappeared and then I went into trying to explain what it was. So that's okay. Tell us, so for all of our viewers, and for people that are thinking about adopting a pet, can you kind of walk us through what that process looks like if someone's considering cost, what it looks like, vet visits, what does kind of the whole process look like for someone?
Sure. Well, first, anybody can always go out on our website, which is hamiltonhumane.com. And we have our pet list out there, and it's updated in real time. Just as animals are coming in and being processed and going up for adoption, they are automatically updated to the website. So that is the best place to go to see who we have available at that very moment. Come on in. You can also just go ahead and fill out an adoption application online and send it in. That way we'll have it. It'll be pre-approved. Or you can just come in. You don't have to fill anything out to come online, to just come in and visit and walk around and look. And if you see somebody that you're interested in, we'll have you fill out some paperwork so we can learn a little bit about you and make sure that it's a good fit. If you don't have any other pets in the home and you're looking to adopt, then as long as either you're a homeowner.
We're losing her again. This is what technology does. There you are.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. if you can have pets where you live, we do want to confirm that if you
Oh, shoot. I think she was saying that if you have a pet, what happens is they make sure to check to see if that pet, so they kind of have you bring that pet in. At least this is what our neighbors did. It's all I can kind of go by. But they brought their other pet in, and then they were able to meet and be able to see each other, and be able to see if it would be, a good fit for both parts. So that's really neat. She's back. I'm just gonna fill in. I was just saying what
I
happened.
don't know what's going on. My internet's been fine all day, so I'm walking around the house trying to
It's
figure out what works. But
this is what technology does.
well, I could hear you, and you explained it correctly.
Oh
And
God!
so,
Hey!
yeah. If you have a dog, then we do want you to bring your dog in and meet another prospective dog, just to make sure that they're compatible. And so that would be one step that we would require. We also want your whole family to come in and meet. It's a big deal. And we want to make sure that the dog or cat that you've picked is going to be good with your kids. And it is a lifelong family decision. And so we want to see everybody be a part of it. And then with our adoption, we include every animal gets their first round of vaccines, they're microchipped, and we will include the spay or neuter if they're not already altered. The only thing we don't include is anything special that might be required if you wanted to have, if there were any pre-surgical blood work, and some additional things would be at your expense, but it's a great deal. Either way, average adoption fee is probably around $75 to $90 with all that included. Everybody comes with a free vet exam at one of our vets. We have a great participating vet network. And you get to pick from any one of our vets to go and have that free wellness exam and have your new baby checked out. It's just, you think about how much people spend when they go to a breeder or a pet store, thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes.
And, for $75, all this is included. You're getting a great animal. We temperament test our pets. We have a really good feeling for, like I said earlier, if they're going to be good with other dogs or cats and things like that. So they're really well vetted, and we want to, make sure we've done everything we can to make the best possible connection and placement.
That's so awesome. How many, I don't know if you probably know this number. I feel like I wouldn't know this number if I was in your position. Because I do numbers, but it's all on a spreadsheet. So I have to go to the spreadsheet. But do you know how many animals you typically get? Because for handling all of Hamilton County, like, is there like a statistic that you have for like each month you get about this many animals?
Our business is seasonal. So monthly vary, kitten season kicks in, sometimes as early as April. It seems it's definitely started. And so we see spikes during the spring and the summer months with kittens and cats. We also, unfortunately, will see an uptick in surrenders from people during the summer months and before holidays, because they're traveling and they don't want, or they're entertaining, and it's a stressful time. And so sometimes that's just enough to make people make that decision if it was on their mind. So it depends monthly, but annually we take in between 3,000 and 3,100 animals a year. And that includes, like I said, all of the most difficult to save and place animals imaginable. Every hit by car that's found, every abuse case, you name it, and we take them in. And over 98% annually are placed, with 1% usually approximately still there, at the end of the year, just waiting for a home. So it doesn't mean we put down 2%. So, over 98% annually are placed successfully through rescues or into loving homes.
That's a lot of animals. It's
a lot of animals.
Like, that's a lot of animals. Do you know, because these are just things I'm curious about, the percentage of cat to dog?
We get more cats than dogs. I'd say it's about 60-40.
Okay. And then of dogs and cats, I don't know if this is separately, but like from puppies to grown to like aged animals.
Well, probably I would say 90, at least 98% would be adults.
Okay.
We don't get in a lot of stray puppies. We're not getting in a lot of surrendered puppies unless they're sick. People get them off Craigslist, and they've not been vetted like we do, and they haven't had medical care, and now they've got parvo, and now they're our puppy. So those, we get some of those. We'll get a pregnant mom in occasionally, but when we get puppies, they fly out of there.
Yeah.
What mostly we see are adult dogs, and we've seen an uptick in the number of seniors we kind of consider to be around 7 years old to
Okay.
10, and then a very disheartening increase in what I call super seniors, which are animals that are over the age of 10.
Oh.
And so these are, people that are surrendering their older pets for whatever reason. A lot of times it's medical related because they get older and they have more issues, and it becomes expensive, or they might become incontinent. It's no different than us, and as we get older, we have issues. And a lot of, so they end up in the shelter, but that's no reason for them to die.
Yeah.
And so we, if we can save them, treat them, or rehabilitate an animal, we do. And they get a second chance regardless of that.
I think that's so amazing. We actually adopted a cat, two cats. She actually ran a cat rescue place in Carmel for a very long time. And she actually ended up, funny enough, later becoming a client of ours. But it was very interesting because she also was a no-kill, and she just would have, she still in her house has cats that are like 15, 16, 17 years old that have tons of medical issues, but she's just taking care of them. And I think, unfortunately, what happens in our society is we're a, out of convenience society. And if it's not convenient to my daily life, I'm just going to and I'm like, you adopted this mammal. Like, it's like, my mother-in-law would call them people, because she's the like animal whisperer is what we call her, because she would walk in and all of our pets would always, like, she walks in and they literally just gravitate towards her. And I've learned from her that, it's till they pass, right? Like, you need to take care of them till they're the senior age, as you call it.
To the end,
Yeah. They deserve that as well, just like us.
Absolutely. They've loved us. They've been loyal. They've been there for us. And those last few months, or maybe a year, where it's really difficult on us, or even just the heartache of having to let them go, we owe that to them, to give them that love and dignity at the very end of their life after all they've done for us.
Yeah. You can definitely attest to having to take care of a dog that has issues. Like, that's what I absolutely love. Like, even through all of that, the dedication you can see. So, well, let's get on to the capital gain part. I'm really excited about the new facility, and I want everybody to know about it. I want everybody to show up and walk the facility and support the facility, because I think that it's just great for our community in general. It's just because it's the Humane Society. I think that it's awesome that you're staying in, or that you are bringing it, I guess, to Fishers, because technically it's Hamilton, or it's Noblesville right now. But walk us through many ways that someone can support not only the Humane Society, which I think it's kind of the same, but the Humane Society, but also the new building campaign.
Well, there's for the new facility, we are still actively raising money through the capital campaign. We've raised about $12.5 million to date, but our goal is $14 million, because we'd like to establish an operating endowment. And so we have another $1.5 million or two to go. And so, obviously we're looking for generous contributions toward closing that delta And there's also some really amazing naming opportunities that are still available. Our education center has a naming opportunity available, and so does the Canine Adoption Center. And I'm really surprised that nobody has taken the Canine Adoption Center off the market yet.
Can you explain what that is? Because you said that to me the other day, and I had to then kind of look at like what, because you're saying multiple things, but what are those things? Like you have the building, which is Stephen Cage, right?
It's the Stephen J. Cage it's his foundation, Animal Wellness Center. And so his name is on the exterior of the building. So he has the name, rights to the building. And then also we've got the Sumerian Foundation named our medical center, and that'll be featured on the exterior of the building. Inside the building, we've got our cat adoption area, the Feline Adoption Center, and we have a donor that is naming that. That was a $1 million gift in order to name that. So these are obviously naming opportunities that are in perpetuity. This is forever. Are beautiful signs that will be very prominent and give donors and supporters an opportunity to build their legacy into this facility forever, if that's what touches their heart. And so the cat adoption area has their naming donor, but the dogs don't. And so
that's the canine. That's what you mean by canine.
Yes. And then the education center, we don't have anything like that today. That is going to be a very prominent area where all of our programming is going to happen. So this is where we would do our work with kids. We do a lot of work with scouts, young children, in terms of talking about bite prevention and just responsible pet ownership. We work with at-risk youth, and with a collaboration that we do through Pause and Think and the Hamilton County Youth Assistance Program. We have a veteran program. We work with seniors. So there's going to be, all these kinds of really cool programs that we facilitate and fund. We'll now have a really great place where we can meet and do those programs and even more. And so that education center still has a naming opportunity available to it. Both of those are $1.5 million. What a deal. I mean, seriously. And if that's outside your scope, that's okay. There are other opportunities. We just launched our Memorial Plaza brick program. So as you walk into the front door of the new facility, there will be a beautiful plaza. It is the Ed Martin family Memorial Plaza, and there will be regular 4x8, bricks that you can buy for $500 and, memorialize or do something in honor, whatever you want on those bricks that will also be there forever. And then we have a limited number of larger bricks, double ones, 8x8. Those are $1,500. And obviously more space for some text. There's only 74, so they're going to go quickly. And they're speckled throughout in a really cool design that Sean Curran put together. So it's, those are great opportunities too, for everybody to have a chance and have a way to be a part of the new building and the brighter future that we're building.
Well, and I loved even on the site, so it showed like, not that you're putting your name, but you're like in loving memory of maybe a pet that you adopted or that passed, or you know what I mean? Which I really thought that was kind of neat. Not just, the name, that it was, I like that it's pet driven.
Yeah. I mean, and that's mostly what we're doing. Our folks that have bought bricks so far, it's in memory and it's a celebration of the lives of the pets that have touched them. But, it's also, I think it's an amazing gift. I can't think of a better way to honor somebody that is an animal lover, and place a brick that will always be there to represent them. One of them that we used as an example is one of the designers on the new facility who's donated all of his time over the last several years to help us do this. His name is Keith Murphy, and we put a brick together for him, an 8x8 that says, in honor of Keith Murphy, you're a hero to the animals. So, there's so many opportunities and ways to use this as not only a way to give to us, because that's going to help us, pay the bills and get this done, but also just be a part of it. Your family, your pet's name and those around you that you love that you'd like to do something special for.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Okay, so outside of the building, if somebody just wants to be able to donate, right? Like if they're just like, like we have certain, charities that we donate to. We're going to probably be adding this one, so I'm excited. But
Probably.
yeah. Oh no, well we are. I say probably because I don't like, like when it's like getting it done. I have to admit, so many things. But so if somebody just says, okay, maybe not the capital, but like if I want to donate $10 a month, or if I want to, like, can they do that? Can they set that up on an automatic payment, or like how does that look?
Absolutely. The folks that do that are, they pay the bills. That's our bread and butter, are the generous people throughout the community who give $25 a month, and that makes all the difference for the operating side of what we're doing. That was the capital campaign, but we still have to run what we have today. Right. And we're going to run the business when we're in this new wonderful building. So what you're talking about, the automatic giving program, is called Love and Let Live. If you go out on our website and you go to the Love and Let Live, you can set up an automatic monthly contribution. You do it once, and then it just keeps coming until you decide to stop it. And then you'll be part of our Love and Let Live membership group. You get a pin that says Love and Let Live, and a decal, and just enormous gratitude for being someone that's willing to commit to that really monthly giving, annual giving. And then you can, of course, make a single gift. Go to the home page. There's a big red button that says donate, and you can contribute right there one time. And there's also options to choose specific programs. We have, like I said, we have a veteran program. We have our survivor program, which pays all the medical bills. But if you want to give to something very specific that you care about, you can do that too. So we try to make it easy and give everybody a lot of options. And it's all out there on our website at hamiltonhumane.com.
So one of my last questions, not the last question, but one of the questions that I have is, if we know that kind of going through this and getting that ticking sound, so annoying. So
I don't think this one's my fault.
No, no, I think that's on our end. I'm just going to try to ignore it. It's like it's like a we try to like sometimes. Except that's really annoying.
I think it's gone. Can you hear me?
He tried to mute me. If I mute her, if you mute her, nope, it's still there. No, it is. When we mute you, it goes away. I'm going to ask my question. Oh no, mute it real quick. So here's my question. You're muted right now, so you can't talk quite yet. But the question is that if somebody, during kind of what's been going on in the world, we've noticed, or what we've been trying to do is also explain to people how they can help or volunteer or give without specifically giving money. Because I know sometimes it's really hard. Just remove that one. Where if somebody wants to volunteer, can they volunteer without specifically giving money? That's what I was trying to get at. Sorry.
I just switched to my laptop.
Yes.
So hopefully that helped.
That did. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So there are all kinds of ways to help that don't involve giving monetarily, if that's not something that you're able to do. We have like I said earlier, we have an amazing volunteer base. We depend on those volunteers every day to make sure that every dog gets outside for a walk. Like I said, there are no indoor-outdoor kennels in our facility. There are no windows. There is no light. It is loud. And a lot of these dogs are housebroken. We have mainly adult dogs. They'll hold it until they're, turning blue. So, we depend on dog walkers to come out and walk those dogs every day. We're there 7 days a week. On the holidays, they still need to go out. And we've got this really core group of dedicated folks that come out and do that. And we can always use more. And then we need volunteers to socialize and love on the cats just as much as the dogs. We have some folks that are very specific in their volunteerism, and they like to support our marketing events. We're very grassroots driven. So we go out to a lot of festivals, and we always have a booth set up, and we rely on volunteers to help us do that. And we train people so that they know what to do, and they can do all that safely and effectively. So volunteering is a great way to help. Again, you just jump on our website and go to the volunteer program. You can fill out an application online, and then our volunteer manager, Aislinn, will get you set up for an orientation. Fostering is critical. So when we're out of space and we have that animal that's not doing well emotionally, or we have an injured animal who needs to heal in a home, foster homes are what do that. So you can sign up to be a foster. There's no cost. We'll pay for 100% of everything if that's what's needed to get that animal out of the shelter and into a better environment. And then we also rely heavily on in-kind donations. We have a lot of corporate sponsorships. So some of those sponsors will pay monetarily and be a part of that corporate sponsorship program, which gives amazing benefits to those businesses. Exposure through our social media platform, which reaches well over 60,000 crazy people who love animals, and they're very loyal consumers. So we offer a very robust exposure and marketing program for those corporate sponsors. And then some of them do that in kind. They provide services that we need. It could be, HVAC or plumbing or an exterminator, and I'm looking for all those things, by the way, for the new facility. Anybody who wants to kind of be our official exterminator, let me know, because that's an opportunity for you to partner with us and to get great business exposure, and for us to not have to pay for something and put that money toward the animals.
That's really great. I like that you went through that, because I think sometimes we even realize that, like, we have people or viewers that I know, because I've had people come up to me after the fact and say, oh, well, I liked it because I don't specifically shop there, or I am not really into pets, or, whatever. If they aren't, but still want to support a good cause, you know what I mean? Or can't have a pet at their house or whatever because they're allergic or whatever, you can still support a good cause and not specifically be giving money or monetarily. And I think that that's for people to recognize. So especially with as much as some people are struggling right now, and we want to be able to offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the last question of the evening is, do you know, or who do you think we should interview next?
I've been thinking about them. I know so many people and fishers that, there's so many great businesses and sponsors here in this community that support us. I love, Donna Dellin, who owns the Harley Davidson on 32nd. She works with us, and she's been a great supporter. Steve Cage, his business is here
now. So we interviewed Jennifer Driscoll. Do you know Jennifer Driscoll?
I think I have met her.
She's a photographer. She actually, so Steven bought her her building or her we call it a white little cottage in downtown Fishers. Bought that land as well. And that's who actually recommended to interview him. My husband is a huge car guy, and so
that's the man.
Yeah, that's what we've been told.
He's the most amazing car collection ever. He owns unbelievable.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Obviously incredibly kind. He donated $4 million to help us build this shelter. And all he asked was that we put Stanley, his black cat, on the side of the building. So in the picture that I think you put up earlier, that cat is Stanley. That'll be Stanley cat. If you see just his head at the top. So he loves his kitty, and I'm like, that's fair enough. Done.
So this is the website for anybody that's still watching. You can see the donate down in the right-hand corner. And then this is what the new building is going to look like. Adam, my husband, we have a Tesla. And so he noticed in your picture that you had a Tesla in the parking lot. We were really excited about that. I know it's super cheesy, but we were excited.
It's not mine. It's not mine. No.
That's
Mine's
okay.
It's an SUV full of dog hair.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
that's what my mother-in-law would say. She has rescued 2 English setters, and then she was up to 4 cats, but I think she's down to 3 now.
All right.
But she definitely.
And one thing I forgot to mention is actually we're launching our annual matching campaign
Oh,
tomorrow.
yes. Okay. So what that is.
That runs July 1st through July 31st. We have about, I think we're right at $55,000 in pledges. So these are the people that are willing to match your gifts dollar for dollar. So tomorrow we'll launch that. And that means these are general contributions that you make toward matching will be matched dollar for dollar up to $55,000. So we have a chance to double that, and we have a month to do it. And so that's, for people who really want to see their dollar go as far as possible, what better time than to do it when it's being matched?
Yeah, that is such a great, because I think even as the person who's donating, you feel kind of better because you're able to you're kind of doing twice. So that's really great. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I forgot you mentioned that to me, and I wanted to make sure that we talked about that. Well, we are at our hour, which it always goes by way too fast, and I probably could ask you 100 more questions, but it has been such a pleasure. Is there anything else that you want our viewers to know about or that we didn't talk about that you feel like you wanted to mention?
I think we've covered a lot, really everything to learn about what we do, our programs, the capital campaign, Love and Let Live. If you want to give monthly, matching campaign, volunteering, it's all on our website at hamiltonhumane.com. And, you can always give us a call. It's 317-773-4974. And we're happy to give you whatever info you need. But mainly just encouraging anybody that wants to add an animal to their home to please consider adoption first. At least come out. Don't make assumptions. Not everybody's broken. It's not all pit bulls. But even if it was, that's just fine because those are great dogs. So come out and see who we have. No harm to check there first. And I guarantee you will find someone to fall in love with who will change your life.
And even I'm going to say, just go and visit. That's what we did for the longest time. We just loved going and seeing all the animals and the cats and the dogs. And I mean, who doesn't? Well, there are people. I was going to say, who doesn't like cats and dogs? There are people out there. But even for someone who's allergic to them, I still love them and want to squeeze them and play with them. And they're
amazing. There's nothing better than the healing power of a pet.
Oh. And if you really look at the healing power, I have to admit, there's a lot of blogs of people who've really seen huge success from the healing powers of animals. So
our entire veteran program is based on that.
Yeah.
We've got veterans that will attest that a pet saved their lives.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate it so much for you giving us the opportunity to interview you. It's great to kind of learn about another great program that's in Hamilton County that is growing. You really have developed it and made it into what it is today. And I'm thankful that you've dedicated, I'm going to say your life, because if it's killing your back and you're doing all this stuff and your hearing is going, you're dedicating.
It's 16 years, so that's probably fair to say. This is definitely, I believe, the reason I'm here.
Yeah, well, and I thank you for that. Thank you for taking an hour out of your evening to meet with us. For anybody that wants to watch it, if you didn't catch the beginning of it, or if you're watching this later or see it, you can go to our page. I'm going to send this also to Rebecca, so if she wants to post or whatever, that's something that she can do as well. But we appreciate it. We're thankful that you guys watched our little show. It's not this big thing yet, but it's just a little show. We're glad that we can kind of share with you another neighbor, and hopefully we'll be able to bring you another Fisher's neighbor down the road. But thank you so much, everybody, and you guys all have a wonderful Thursday. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You have a good night.